Welcome back, everybody. Hope everyone is doing well. My name is Jason. I'll be your host on this CFL talk show, Hussey's Huddle. In this video, we preview and predict Week 9 of the 2022 CFL season. But really quickly before we get started, if you want to support the channel, as always, be sure to hit like and subscribe. I really appreciate that. And with that said, let's get started with the video. So we are about 1/3 through the CFL season so far, and we're starting to get a better feel of where a lot of these teams are going to be situated in the standings come season's end, and a lot still to be determined as well when it comes to that. So starting with the first game of the week, Thursday night football between the Montreal Alouettes and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers favored by 6.5 points when I checked last night. And it's going to be a very fascinating game, I think, because of obviously Winnipeg going in undefeated still at 8-0, and Montreal owner Gary Stern all but guaranteeing a victory tonight against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So it's going to be very interesting to see if Montreal can play up to the Blue Bombers. Winnipeg just has this tendency this year that they're played down to the level of their opponents. They haven't really had too many blowout wins this year, but they've just been able to sneak them out at the end, and it's just been a testament to their ability to win close contested games. I'm looking to see if Zach Collaros continues his MOP candidacy here. Yes, he is 8-0, but he is going up against Nathan Rourke, who is putting up really great numbers, and almost like Doug Flutie-like numbers so far this season. So, I think he needs to continue to put up great statistics like he did last week if, he wants to be involved in that MOP conversation still. And I think, as of right now, I would still take Zach Collaros to win MOP of the CFL, just because of just the way he's carried this team this year. And, no disrespect to Rourke, I just think that Zach Collaros has done nothing really to fall off the mountaintop in terms of being the MOP. And it's going to be very interesting to see if that continues, if he has another MOP-like performance like he did last week in Calgary. One thing that could trip up Winnipeg in this game is that they are also on a short week, flying cross-country on the road to Montreal. So it's going to be interesting in that respect as well. Sometimes teams get tripped up by that travel bug, especially for these Thursday night football games. So keep an eye on that for Winnipeg. And then on the Montreal side of things, can they be a very disciplined team in this game, because they're going up against arguably the most disciplined team in the entire league? And, Montreal obviously has had a lot of problems with their discipline this year, a lot of key mistakes, not just penalties, but key turnovers at certain points, just bad execution. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can execute and, keep in this game right till the end against Winnipeg and find a way to pull it out and be the first team to give Winnipeg an L this season. One thing that I think will be crucial to them achieving that goal is feeding running back Jeshrin Antwi. I had to check this, but he is averaging one of the highest yards per carry in the CFL this season. The problem is that they're really going away from the running game a lot this season. I believe Trevor Harris was actually their leading rusher last week because they just didn't try to run the ball really with the running backs. So I think that's going to be really crucial, having a running game, take a little bit of pressure off his offensive line that's starting to play poorly the last couple of weeks. I think that's going to be really crucial. Feed Jeshrin Antwi and get that running game going. Give the Alouettes a fighting chance in this game. So that's what I think is going to be crucial for the Alouettes to keep this game close. But ultimately, I think Winnipeg is going to win this game 34-28. I think it's going to be a close game. One of those things that Winnipeg just pulls away at the end. But I think it's going to be a close game and a lot closer than other people are predicting. And then over on the community tab, the fans are taking the Winnipeg Blue Bombers to win this game 91% of the time. So that's the channel's pick for this game this week. And then the Friday night football matchup between the Calgary Stampeders and the Ottawa Redblacks, with the Calgary Stampeders favored by 5 points here on the road. And starting from their perspective, first of all, they're looking to bounce back after back-to-back losses versus Winnipeg, obviously the best team in the league right now, but they want to see if they can rebound after that. I expect them to in this matchup. I think Kadeem Carey versus the Ottawa Redblacks run defense is going to be a really key matchup in this one. They were able to slow down Andrew Harris, or basically shut down Andrew Harris last week, so let's see what they do against Kadeem Carey, who I think is building a resume as arguably the best running back in the CFL. Obviously, guys missing like William Stan back to injury this year, but I think Kadeem Carey has just been a force running the ball this year. I think he's averaged over 6 yards per carry. I think it's going to be really crucial for Calgary to feed him maybe 15 to 20 carries in this game, and I think that would be a key to their success. Take a little bit of pressure off Bo Levi Mitchell. I think on the Ottawa side of things, I think they should look to create turnovers and force Bo Levi Mitchell into some of these turnovers that he hasn't really been throwing this year. I think he only has 3 interceptions on the year. I think only the 7 touchdown passes, but I think that is going to be crucial. If Ottawa can win the turnover battle, I think I really like their chances in this one. And I think this is a really great opportunity for Ottawa to make a move in the East Division. If they can string 2 victories together, they're right back in the thick of things for that second spot and maybe even the first spot in the East Division. It's crazy to say for a team that started 0-6, but they're right there, and it's going to be very interesting to see if they can be competitive in this game and win this one at home. But ultimately, I'm going to go with the Calgary Stampeders to win this game 27-21. I think it's going to be one of those scenarios where, again, like the Winnipeg-Montreal game, I think it's going to be close, and then Calgary's going to pull away late and take the late lead. So that's who I'm going with in this game, but I think it's going to be a good one. When I checked last night, the Calgary Stampeders were leading the community tab poll by 91%. And so that's who the fans in the channel are going with this week. And then moving on to Saturday, where we have the first of 4 meetings in 5 weeks between the Hamilton Ticats and the Toronto Argonauts. Man, I cannot wait for these games. So starting from the Hamilton perspective, it's going to be interesting to see if they can get off to a head start in all of these East Division matchups this season. They've already beaten the first matchup with Ottawa, won the first matchup with Montreal, and this is their opportunity to get a sweep to open the season against all of the East Division opponents. They're 0-5 against the West, but a chance to go 3-0 against the East, which is going to be crucial as we get into the meat of the CFL season here. I think it's going to be really crucial for Hamilton to stop these fumbling issues that have been plaguing them the entire year. I think the receivers have been really bad in terms of letting go of the ball. It's not just Dane Evans, it's not just the running backs, but the receivers all the time when they've created big plays. At the end of the play, they have fumbled the ball. So I think holding on to the football, not killing yourself in these situations is going to be really crucial for Hamilton. I think their best players also need to be their best players in this game to win in these particular matchups against Toronto. Guys like Tim White, guys like Braylon Addison and Stephen Dunbar, those receivers for Hamilton, got to make the big contested catches, help out their quarterback. I think that's going to be really crucial. And on the defensive side, guys like Dylan Wynn, Simone Lawrence coming back from injury, and that great secondary, those guys got to play up to their superstar level to have a good chance against Toronto on the road. And then from the Toronto perspective, I think the big matchup to watch is that defensive line with Shane Ray, Jaguar Davis, Sean Oakman versus this Hamilton offensive line that started to look a little bit better the last couple of weeks, but in general has been an albatross the entire season so far. So it's going to be really interesting to see if they really dominate that matchup, because I think that could go sideways really quickly for Hamilton. Going to be interesting to see how that matchup turns out. And I'm also looking at Brandon Banks in this game. First game against his former team. I think the return game next week will probably be an even bigger deal, obviously playing at Tim Hortons Field, but playing against his former team for the first time, I'm sure he would like to get in the end zone, make some big plays, and I think it's very possible that he does that. I'm going to go with Toronto to win this game by a score of 23-20. The way I look at these matchups and generally how it went last year, I think Toronto stole a game in Hamilton, but I'm going to go with all of the home teams in these matchups, I think, for most of these games this year between Toronto and Hamilton, just because I think it's pretty close between these two teams from a talent standpoint. And I think with Hamilton not necessarily playing the best, they're starting to round into form a little bit, but, they haven't really gotten off their feet this year. Same with Toronto. I think Toronto's looked a little bit better, but, I think these two teams are relatively close right now. and that's why I'm going to go with Toronto at home to win the game 23-20. But on the community tab, the fans are taking the Ticats this week with 60% of the vote, so that's the channel's pick this week. Now our final game of the week between the Edmonton Elks and the BC Lions, with the BC Lions favored by 10 points here. And the spread was even bigger earlier in the week, but it's gone down to that 10 points. Probably not as low of a spread as people who want to bet the Lions on this game would have liked to see. It's kind of staying up there in that double-digit range. So it's going to be very interesting to see. Obviously, in week 1, the BC Lions absolutely destroyed the Elks 59-15, but this is a very different Edmonton Elks team than what we saw in week 1. You know, that was just a brand new coaching staff and a lot of new players, and obviously I think they made a ton of changes since then. Not a lot of the same players are even on this roster now, so it's going to be interesting to see how this game plays out. And Edmonton, because of that loss, they're not going to be lacking for motivation making this trip out to the West Coast. And I think one of the big keys for them has simply been to finish off drives. In that Montreal game that they won, they were able to get in the end zone and combined touchdowns late in that game. I think that was super crucial to their success and why they were able to come out with a win there. And I think that's going to be very crucial in this game as well. You look back to the game against Winnipeg a couple weeks ago, they heavily outplayed Winnipeg, but they did not get in the end zone, I don't believe, once in that game. So that's going to be very crucial. Can they get in the end zone and finish off drives? That is going to be very important because this BC Lions team on the other side, we know they're going to score points. And then on the BC side of things, it's going to be very important for them not to overlook the Elks in this game. I think, you know, they are starting to get to the point where everybody kind of accepts them as one of the top tier teams in the CFL. But I think they cannot afford a letdown game here, so they cannot afford to overlook an Elks team that is starting to play a lot better. I think this is a great opportunity for this team to get to 6-1 on the season, really start building that record up to a point that they don't really need to win games as much late in the season. So it's going to be interesting to see if BC can kind of build up the record here with another victory. And I'm looking to see if James Butler, who had a huge game in week 1 against Edmonton and their weak run defense, does the same again here. It's going to be interesting to see in this game if we see another blowout here. Ultimately, I think it's going to be closer than what we saw in week 1, but I do like BC to win this game by a score of 30-21. So in this case, with that 10-point spread, I wouldn't feel comfortable really betting this game if you want to take the Lions. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see what happens, but I'm going to go with BC to win this game. And then over on the community tab, no surprise, the BC Lions are being picked 90% of the time, and so that's the channel's pick for this game this week. But with that said, that is going to be the end of this Week 9 preview, ladies and gentlemen, and I want to thank each and every one of you for watching. Once again, my name is Jason. If you want to support the channel, as always, be sure to hit like and subscribe, and be sure to let me know who you think is going to win this week down in the comment section. Hope everyone enjoys the games this weekend, has a great day, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.